I hate that his view of having a fulfilled life is fucking traveling and money. It feels so backwards. It really does too. And it's really funny to watch because typically if you're traveling in like a good way, you're traveling as you're trying to meet other people and expand your worldview. But Sneako has narrowed so much. So it's like he's doing everything completely backwards. Like it felt like when he was like a random kid that was 16 years old playing COD or whatever in his room, it felt like he had a more open point of view about the world or a more expanded point of view about other people. But as he's traveled more and met more people, he's become more narrow-minded. Like, this is the way you gotta live your life, and the liberals are fucking poison you, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, Jesus, like, what are you doing when you're traveling? Are you talking to anybody? Or are you just going to the Instagram gyms and posting like a picture of you, you know, hitting the pads for 120 seconds and then like clicking out, going to a hotel and fucking a new chick? Like, what are you actually doing in these other countries? When you say you're talking to other people, are you actually getting out and like talking to people? Or are you and your cameraman going to visit the guy you agreed to do a podcast with and then sitting down, doing a show, getting the views, and then like hopping on a flight to go to the next country? Like, it's hard. I mean, I would hope I'm sure he's talking to some people. I mean, there must be some kind of like cultural interflow that happens into your brain, like even if you don't want it to, but like it's so bizarre to me that his point of view about the world has become so much more narrow and closed off as he's traveled to more different places. Yeah, but I don't know. Based on like some of the videos he's posted so far, it seems like he's just meeting people in other countries that already agrees with him. So he has like the illusion of like being traveled. But in reality, like I can message my fans all over the world, go visit 50 different countries and not hear a single different point of view, you know, depending on how you do it. But maybe you're not as convincing as you think, Destiny. Lim Mayo. I'm about as convincing as I think. I don't know what you mean. Like the problem is I can't compete with ideologies and cults. Right? Like the problem is that like the answers that I'll give you, especially when it comes to epistemology, it's not going to be fun, right? Like how do you know, and most of the answers I give are like pretty boring. But if you look at most things in life, like most of them are pretty boring. If some guy's got a guide, you know, or got a guide called like Get Ripped in 2 Easy Steps, it's probably not going to be a good guide. If somebody's got like three tricks to losing weight, probably not going to be a very good guide. If somebody has like one book that you need for all the answers in life, probably not going to be a very good book. If somebody's telling you ignore all the mainstream media and get all your information from Tim Pool, right? Probably not going to be very good information. Like the reality is like if you want to be like epistemically grounded and if you want to be like, I don't know, like even ethically, morally grounded, probably take some decent level of like exploration, some decent level of introspection, a lot of trial and error, a lot of different cognitive tools that we use to be inquisitive about our own minds. But none of it is going to be like as attractive or sexy as talking about the Matrix. That's just a really hard echo chamber to break somebody out of. Because the Andrew Tate lifestyle and all these guys, you know, like the Jewish question, all that shit, like it feels cool to think that life is a Marvel movie, that there is a big bad guy at the end of the tunnel, and he's the one who's, you know, all of society's ills can be blamed on. Because that's a very satisfying answer. I don't know if my style of questioning or whatever could ever compete with that, but I don't know if I would try to compete with that. I typically don't. This is why I usually tell people, like I'm not here to. I'm very rarely am I ever here to like coach somebody through life. If somebody wants a lot of help in life, I'll give it to them. If somebody's truly like, yeah, Destiny, like, can you help me? Blah, 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 like, I'll do it. But for the most part, I don't, because most people don't want that. Most people feel like they have all their shit figured out and they don't want to hear other shit that I have to say, which is fine. I'm okay with it. You know, people are free to explore and do what they want. Like there's shit that I'm still figuring out, so I don't know all the answers, except for how to f your mom in every single style possible. I know all those answers. Would you actually help someone out who's like that with you 24/7? It seems like needy people like that would be exhausting. Well, no, I mean, like if somebody asks me legitimate questions, like I'll usually try to provide like guidance or a perspective or whatever. But like most people don't. Like I'm not going to be like having like Sneako doesn't care about my perspective of the world. It's not sexy enough for him, right? It's not like influencer ready. It's not made for TikTok. It's not digestible in 30-second clips, and it doesn't leave you feeling immediately good and empowered the second you walk away. Like any journey requires a level. I'm going to be abusing epistemic for a long time. I'm sorry. This is like my new buzzword. Like to epistemically humble yourself is a really process. It doesn't feel good to be like, maybe the things that I believed were wrong, or maybe my ideology that I had before is flawed, or maybe like the answers to the world are a little bit less satisfactory than I want, or maybe there are some news sources that I've listened to that have lied to me, or like that's not a good feeling, right? It's not a good feeling for me even. It's not good to say like, yeah, you know, the New York Times and the Washington Post do get quite a bit long. That's not cool. It doesn't feel good to like have mainstream media write lies about you. It doesn't feel good to admit that like, yeah, you know, I used to be super progressive and some of these people are crazy. It doesn't feel good to be like, you know, the research said this, but now it actually points to something different. Yeah. Those things don't feel good. It feels way better to be able to say there's a conspiracy, there's a rigging, there's a matrix, there's a machine, there's a deep state. Like those things just feel way better. You get in your echo chamber, you just, you know, everybody resonates the same points of view. And then even the things, this has always been one of my big criticisms of Red Pill. Even when they give you harsh truths, they're not actually harsh truths at all. Usually it's like empowerment that's just disguised in a kind of a mean message. Like a red pill message or any harsh truth is never actually like, oh, this is like a really rough way of the world. Usually it's like disguised to be empowering as well. Like, oh, like, you know, you're not shit unless you do something for yourself, or like, you're not gonna be able to make it unless you take control of your life, and like, you know, nobody's gonna help you unless you do the blah, blah. Like, it sounds like a harsh truth, but most of the messages are empowering and actually feel like really good. I think that's why people gravitate to them so much. But, you know, hey, who am I to say?